So with that, and a huge thank you, I want to turn things over for our next session to Dotun, and Dotun will lead us through the program quality orientation. And Dotun, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am, Madam District Director. Good morning, everyone. And thanks for joining our orientation session this morning. Here are the topics we are going to cover in our time together. We will have a philosophical conversation on the focus areas for 2020-2021, and this will be from the program quality perspective and activities for the district. Next, we would look at how to plan for effective club visits. We will review some of the club quality resources available to you as area directors and division directors. We'll also be looking at some resources you should be sharing with your clubs in your role as a trusted advisor. At the end, I will share with you leadership nuggets for you to master the current crisis that we're all navigating, so that you would seize the moment, come out of it as a better leader. But before we continue, why don't you just put your hand on your chest and join me in making this Power Leaders Declaration. I am an excellent leader. Toastmasters is my safe playground for growing as a leader. I choose to try new things, even as I add value to other Toastmasters. As I do, I have a story to share. I make a difference outside of Toastmasters. I am coming out of this bigger and as a better leader. I know I will never be the same again. Never, never, never. So why don't you give yourself a high five and say, I am awesome. Thank you. Let's start our discussion by looking at what our focus areas for the program quality should be in this program year. There are different reasons why each one of us joined Toastmasters. For me, I wanted to improve my ability to be concise in my communication, considering the caliber of clients I deal with in my consultant practice. Every one of us have reasons why we joined Toastmasters, why we remain in the program. Whatever these specific reasons may be, they will most likely fall into one of the two buckets that is captured by the mission of Toastmasters International, which is to be a more effective communicator or to be a better leader. However, we need to be reminded as district leaders that first of all, we are members and that we are here to have our needs met, even while we are helping to meet the needs of other members. Let's look at the reverse triangle, because there's something interesting in that. You'll see that with all the structures right from world headquarters up onto the club, they're all rolling up into one thing, and that's about the members. So this is evident that the district exists for one primary reason, and that is to add value to our members. This should be our primary focus in our operations. Here's a simple flow of how we create value in Toastmasters, starting with club quality. When there's club quality in place, this creates a rich member experience, which results in membership growth and retention. There's one thing about quality clubs: they have their meetings well planned. These meetings are fun to attend. There's variety in the programming. They provide their members with learning opportunities which results in personal and professional growth. When the member grows in their personal and professional life and their needs are met, one thing is most likely they will bring others by the word of mouth to be part of what's going on in their club. Eventually, that personal growth results in membership growth, which, as that goes on, results in membership retention, because they keep renewing their dues just because their needs are being met. If you think about it, that's most likely why you and I remain in the program. As district leaders, though, we need to be enabling each step of this value chain. Before we look at how the district can add value to members, let's understand what the club leaders do and what the district leaders do. Club leaders are focused on delivering exceptional club experience to the members. By doing this, the club fulfills the club mission and delivers on our brand promise. The club mission, as we know, states that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The brand promise is about empowering individuals through personal and professional development. But for us as district leaders, our focus is on achieving the district mission, which is that we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. The district mission is the objective, while the district distinguished program is the measurement of success in meeting that objective. The question then is, how do we as district leaders add value across this value chain? How do we do that? For club quality, we support our clubs by ensuring that our division directors help organize and deliver high quality training to our club officers. Trained officers translate to successful clubs. We support our clubs also by ensuring that our area directors conduct regular visits to our clubs, and they help keep the lines of communication open between the clubs and the district. Our division directors help give our club officers the knowledge, the tools, and the resources that they need to be successful in their role at the beginning and the middle of their term, and this is done through training. Area directors continue to provide guidance and support these club leaders throughout their term, and this is done through the regular club visits or the area follow-up meetings that may be happening, or the one-on-one interactions between the club officers. That is the reason why when any of these links are missing, club quality is compromised and the club heads off on a weak start, which results in the trickle-down effect in member experience, membership growth, and membership retention. There's one thing to learn here. If our clubs are struggling, it could partly be because we as district leaders at some point have enabled that process through inadequate training and or irregular contact with the club officers. Here is one thing you need to realize as you step into your roles as division and area directors. And that is to be reminded of the current realities we are facing, that are facing our clubs and members. As we know, the first 6 months of this year has been an interesting ride. Here in Alberta, it started with the economic shocks. Then this was followed by the pandemic crisis, which hit in March. One thing we need to know is that when crisis hits, it's typical for people to react because of the fear of the unknown. In the process, people make irrational decisions, such as some of our members not renewing their Toastmaster membership for various reasons, some being out of job because of this crisis. But yet we know that in this competitive job market, one must really own their interviewing skills. And which other place is a better place for you to be able to do that than actually remaining in the program? So what I'm trying to say here is that this is the climate that you are walking into as you take on this assignment in these interesting times that we are navigating. Then be need for us to be able to motivate and inspire our club officers because of what they may be going through. Yes, it is true that there are a lot of unknowns that are playing out from this current crisis. We as district leaders, again, should motivate our clubs, helping them become resilient by demonstrating to them that we can always, as leaders, control how we respond to the things we can't control. The many aspects of this crisis that remains fluid, we can't control. But one thing that will be critical to the survival of our clubs as they continue to navigate whatever may still be ahead of what is becoming the new normal is that they should choose how they respond to the things that they are not in control of. It's one of the leadership lessons for managing crisis. The good thing is that some of our clubs have demonstrated this already. Despite the COVID challenge, they ended up becoming president distinguished, 27 of them. This is good because we can use these clubs as reference points to our other clubs that may still be processing on how to respond to the rapidly changing environment. A great leader, I think we can learn from on why, as leaders, it matters to choose how we respond to things we are not in control of, is Abraham Lincoln. We are familiar with Abraham Lincoln as the elected president of the United States in 1860. But his road to the White House was not an easy one. Lincoln was born into poverty. At 9 years old, his mother died. He failed in 2 different business ventures. The second one left him with a debt that took him years to pay off. In his mid-20s, his fiancée died, and this caused him to suffer a mental breakdown. Only a few years later, his then wife was found to be mentally ill. Through all this, and for another 30 or so years, he lost 8 elections before finally being elected President of the United States in 1860. Lincoln did not choose his experiences of failure and defeat, but he did choose how to respond to them, and which we can. There's the adage of the carrot, egg, and the coffee, which is a great example. A grandpa taught his little boy that became so grumpy from his experiences in school, so much so that he wanted to quit. So after grandpa boiled these 3 things, the carrot, the egg, and the coffee, boiled them differently in a kettle, he asked the boy to taste these three. Of course, for the carrot, it had become soft. For the egg, it became hard-boiled. But for the coffee, the aroma came through with the rich flavor. The little boy was curious to know the moral of the adage, and he asked his grandpa, which in turn his grandpa asked him, which one of these three are you? Are you like the carrot that becomes soft in the face of adversity? Or are you like the egg that becomes hardened and indifferent in the face of adversity? Or are you like the coffee that you so much enjoyed, which changes everything with its rich aroma and flavor in the face of the same adverse conditions? For us as leaders, we can choose to respond to conditions we don't have control over. The other thing to learn from the current crisis is that there's opportunity for growth, and as we step into our roles as division and area directors, rather than react when faced with challenges during this current crisis, it's good for us to focus on the leadership lessons and learn from them. We should also focus on our progress as we learn from these leadership lessons. With that, let's go on to the next part, which brings us to how we've chosen to respond to all that is going on at the district. Our response strategy to the current crisis is that we'll rather focus on what we can control. We don't have all the answers, but there are things that we know happens repeatedly each year. Those things don't change irrespective of what is going on. Our strategic focus is for us to continue to apply our resources to club quality and membership retention. This should guide you as area and division directors on how you shape your division and area success plans. Why focus? Focus is energy. Energy flows where the attention goes. These are principles. What we put before us truly expands, and what we put behind us shrinks. Focus is the gateway to all forms of creative thinking. The saying goes that if you can't focus effectively, you can't think effectively. Effective thinking causes the light bulbs to come on, helping us to discover opportunities in the midst of a crisis. Let's look at those areas where we have control to choose on how we respond to things. As leaders, we have control over giving speeches ourselves and helping our people to continue to do so irrespective of the uncertainties of the current crisis. This will help us to have more of our clubs become distinguished. The focus here is not about getting the points, but as we know, the things that each of the clubs need to do and the members need to do, which then translates into the club earning that distinguished status. We have control over influencing those leading indicators, people going through the program, completing their speeches, because that translates to personal and professional growth in them. We also have control over influencing more of our members to consider renewing their membership, knowing what the benefit of staying in the program is despite the uncertainty of the crisis. As we know, the lockdown could be unpleasant depending on how you treat it, and for some people it could be beneficial for them to continue to plug into that support system within the club where they're able to interact with their peers rather than just being on their own. Pathways is also another area where we have control over how we influence our members to continue to adopt the program. The legacy program has ended on June 30th. The only thing we have remaining now is the Pathways program. The numbers are looking good for our existing members. Officers also are adopting the program, but there are still a few of our officers who, when I looked at the spreadsheet, are taking on the roles of VPs of education or president or secretary. These three roles are the base camp managers. They are supposed to be there helping to support their clubs in Pathways. But it's surprising to see a few of our officers in these roles having not enrolled into Pathways. There's a way when you download the list for your areas and clubs, it has a column there that shows those who are enrolled in the program or not. So as you review this list as area and division directors, we have control over influencing our officers to become enrolled in the program so that they can provide good service to their clubs. Where we also have some work to do is the adoption of the Pathways program by new members. Probably there's opportunity for us to develop something related to orientation where it will help new members to be able to walk through a few steps and get them enrolled into Pathways after signing up to be a member of the club. I've put this map of service to members up there because I found it helpful in my days as an area director. I used it in helping my club leaders understand the connection of the area with their clubs and what their constitutional representation looks like in the area council. Many do not know that they are actually part of an area council, but this map helps connect the dots. It also helps connect the dots between us as area directors and division directors, because for those of you who are new to becoming an area director, you are actually part of your division council. So I've put this up there to help us understand how the area is connected with the districts and how it should be represented in the division council. The focus area table there has it in three parts. The club quality shows that well-trained officers are important for club quality, and this is handled by the responsibility of our division directors. Reina mentioned the June 20 club officer training that was well attended. We have few dates that are upcoming, with the July 23 date that is the next one. For the division directors, we've been meeting offline and planning these events. But what we can do is that as the area directors begin their term, division directors can help in the process of introducing them to the clubs, arrange club visits, either hopping on to the online meeting of your clubs and use that to introduce the area director. In that visit, you should be using it as an advantage of mobilizing the officers to attend training, to sign up for training if they have not done so. Area directors continue to augment that training during the visits and monthly interactions with the club officers. And this is through sharing of resources and presentation, educational materials such as the one on building a quality club, conducting open houses, attracting and retaining guests. These are topics that are going to be valuable for many of our clubs in this program year. And with September fast approaching, that will be an ideal time to visit clubs as area directors and to put yourself on the agenda to deliver some of these educational topics. Another focus area would be for membership building. And there is a manual called the Expanding Your Horizons Manual that division directors can use in engaging their corporate clubs. So this manual is very useful in that sense. There are several topics that walks through things that are related to the workplace. For example, this one says how to conduct productive meetings. That's an interesting topic that can be offered as a lunch and learn session. Characteristics of effective leaders. Developing your leadership skills. Working in the team environment. Share this resource with your corporate clubs and work with the club leaders, helping them to offer this as lunch and learn within their organization as a way of promoting the Toastmasters program. There are materials that area directors should be bringing to the awareness of the clubs as well, starting in August, and that's for the membership drive. For those of you who are not familiar with the Smedley Award, the Smedley Award is for clubs who are able to add 5 new members, dual members, or reinstated members with a join date between August 1 and September 30. Let's bring this to the awareness of our clubs starting this August, because many of the clubs would need to be on top of their game when it comes to membership building in this program year. Membership renewal would be another critical aspect, and this is initiated by division directors under the membership retention focus. Let's help our clubs start the renewal campaign early this year. This frequently asked questions answers many of those questions that relate to the technicalities of renewal, what happens when a certain number does not renew. All these are questions that you can review as division directors for you to be informed on this topic. And for the mentoring programs, need to have a vibrant mentoring program in place. This manual offers many benefits to the clubs. Area directors should download this and review and share this material with your clubs that may not have a mentoring program in place for their new members. We also have control over learning from what some of our A-tier clubs are doing to remain excellent irrespective of the impact of the crisis. 27 of our clubs and the President's Distinguished status despite the COVID challenge. These clubs have valuable data that we should be extracting. For example, we need to be asking these clubs the questions relating to how they were able to motivate their members to continue with the educational goals in a time when many were not really motivated in doing that because of the distraction of the COVID crisis. We also need to be asking them what they did to be able to increase and retain their membership. As we get this information, it will be a good data to share with our other clubs that may need this for them to be more successful in this program year. We had area directors that completed 100% of their visits in the first and second rounds in the 2019-2020 program year. Some of them remain on our team right now, like Barry, Area 44 Director, is back again. Joan is now Division Director for Division B. The interesting thing is that in the second round, many of our clubs were not meeting online. But for these area directors, there was something they were able to do, that they were still able to complete 100% of their visits to the clubs. Let's ask them, let's learn from them what they did. The line here that highlights Bob, D55, it's because he is the area director with the only area that was able to earn the distinguished area status. Kudos to him. To earn the distinguished area status, the requirement is to complete at least 75% of the club visits in the first and second rounds, and for 50% of the clubs to be distinguished. And he was able to meet that criteria. There were club presidents that also mobilized 100% of their club officers to training in the first and second rounds. All these are good sources of data that we can learn from. Next, let's transition into the second part of our presentation here, conducting effective club visits. This is an important aspect of what is required to enable club quality. And in this part of the presentation, we'll be looking at how, as area directors, we can plan for and conduct effective club visits. The topics are: why club visits, what makes an effective club visit, and how do you organize an effective club visit. The district mission is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. To enable this mission, we've reviewed that one of the duties of the division directors is to organize club officer trainings. The area directors then visit the clubs to see how the officers are implementing what they have learned in training. So club officer training and visits actually go hand in hand. As you receive this slide deck, kindly go through the club visit manual. This was actually included in the agenda for this orientation session and contains valuable information, including an overview of the role of the area director. As area director, you are expected to visit every club in your area at least twice or more frequently if possible. You need to be maintaining regular contact with the club presidents through either the monthly one-on-one phone call or bringing them together maybe every quarter or something in the all leaders area meeting. Wherever works, ensure that you are in regular contact with the club presidents. One thing I did when I was area director was that after I've attended the district all leaders call, I summarize the valuable, important information that should be making its way to the clubs. I summarize it in an email in addition to what has been highlighted in the area success plan as what should be happening for that month, and I put that in an email so every month they know that at least every month they'll be hearing from me on what they should be focusing on for that month. I'm also reminding them of the dates that we agreed to in our area success plan. So it's very important for you as area directors to maintain that contact and to keep the lines of communication open between the district and the clubs. As area director, you should be helping your clubs identify some areas of enhancement of the club quality and helping them know where the district can be of help. All in all, it should be that you are helping your clubs achieve the distinguished status. So the Distinguished Recognition Program extends, many of us are familiar with the Distinguished Club Program, but it extends beyond the club level. It's actually all encompassing. I will show you this diagram now. This diagram tells it all. When you make your club visits, what you are doing is that you are conducting a silent type of moments of truth, which is what the members' experience revolves around. And there are 6 areas to that. The first impressions. As we know, the saying goes that there's no second chance to make a first impression. So that is very important for clubs to get it right. When that guest walks through the door, what do they feel? Do they feel like joining the club? When you visit that club, put yourself in the place of a guest. Would you join that club? The membership orientation, do they have a process in place that helps welcome new members? The membership strength of the club, what's the fellowship like between the members? Is there variety in their programming? How do they communicate amongst each other? The program planning and the meeting organization itself, is it professional? Does it offer value to the members? And who are the members that are working to achieve their recognition in the educational awards? For the district, we are providing the resources to support clubs in achieving excellence. And you as area and division directors are part of that structure and that process. The World Headquarters has its performance measurements, which cuts across the area, the division, and the district, and all are connected to how we are enabling our clubs to become distinguished. Let's have a look at the program, the requirements. You'll be able to review this when you review the manual. But in essence, to become distinguished at the area level, 50% of your clubs need to be distinguished, whereas at the division level, 40% of your clubs need to be distinguished. Or the eligibility requirements is that no clubs must be lost, and for area directors that you are completing at least 75% of the visits to the club, and that you are submitting your report to TI for the first round by November 30 and for the second round by May 31. For us to be proactive with this at the district, we are saying that for the first round, we would like to see that reports have been submitted by November 14, and for the second round, that reports have been submitted by May 15. We ourselves at the district have deadlines as well for the district to be eligible for the recognition program. As you know, the club success plan makes their way into the area success plan. The area success plan makes its way into the division success plan. All division success plan make their way into the district success plan, and the district success plan must be submitted to world headquarters by September 30. So all what we do, they're interconnected, and we're all working together for one purpose, which is to serve our members and to help our clubs deliver that rich member experience. We've talked about the communication channels between the district and the clubs. That must remain open. We have the processes in place. The All Leaders Call is something that happens every month. Area directors and division directors are expected to be in attendance at those meetings. The next meeting, the first meeting for this program year, is slated for July 26. We have other programs as well that you need to be aware of. As area director and division director, you are part of the DEC, the council, the district council, and we have the district executive council meetings that come up. I think the next one will most likely be in September. We have recognition and awards that take place, that from time to time we have those being funneled through the division and area directors to be presented at the club level. These are ways in which we maintain contact with the clubs. The club leaders themselves must realize that as club presidents and VPs of education, they are part of the district council and they should be voting. As you go through your assignment for this program here, take care of yourself. Use it as an opportunity to expand your leadership capacity, learning the art of team building and delegation. Ensure that you have assistants in place. I realize that districts that do very well, that become medley distinguished or wherever the level of distinguished status, they have a fairly solid structure in place at their area and division level, where they have assistants for program quality and club growth. So as much as you can, area directors, division directors, ensure that you have assistants that are helping you. You cannot do it alone. Also, as part of you expanding your leadership capacity, learn the art of enhancing your communication skills. That's what makes you to become a better leader. So effective club visits, we've looked at the club visit manual a little bit there. There's more information in that manual. It contains the template for the area visit report. First off, it provides you with all that you need to do to prepare for your visits, what the moment of truth is, how you can use the club visit report, the sections of the club visit report, and some scenarios that you should be familiar with, membership orientation, list of resources for membership orientation, fairly comprehensive manual that you should be reviewing. And if you have questions from that you can reach out to me. Send me an email at pqd@d99tm.org. You can see these are all the resources for area directors that you should be reviewing. The club visit report captures the moments of truth sections as well. Familiarize yourself with this structure. Send a copy of this before each visit to the club leaders so that they are fully aware of what you are looking out for during those visits. And it just helps them to continue to use it as a way of fine-tuning their programming. This last part is what you would discuss with the VP of Education at the end of the visit, so that you can capture the information of the members who are working towards their educational awards. And that's what it contains. So why club visits? We The club visits is the structure that is in place in Toastmasters to help support our club officers and for you as area director to build trust as a trusted advisor. It helps you also foster the club quality by offering solutions to them and following up to see how those solutions can be implemented. We use the club visit as that follow-up approach to the club officer training, which is why when it was brought to your attention in the focus maps that when you go there, you share materials, you put yourself on the agenda to deliver specialty educational topics that are helpful to the needs of the club. What makes an effective club visit? An effective club visit is demonstrated through trust building. How do you know when you've built trust? The club would be comfortable in giving you honest information about their state of affairs. The club will be receptive to your feedback. The club will see you, area director, as a resource. They will reach out to you from time to time with the questions that they may have. They would even invite you to some of their functions like installing their officers or attending their social events. When the area is putting up your activities, they'll be very active in participation, like the council meetings, the contests. I had one of my clubs when I was area director that had history of not going outside of their club to do anything, but because I was able to work with them, motivated them, build that trust with them, they became very active in the area functions. And then of course, don't be surprised that with you working on them and building that trust, that the club, that they're actually motivated to becoming distinguished. The leadership lesson for this is that if you choose to stick to just the 2 official visits, which, I mean, you submit your report, you get your credit, but if you are looking beyond that, in order to build trust and to have a good legacy, then be prepared to make a few unofficial visits where you are able to interact with the members, getting to know your clubs personally, getting to put the boots on the ground and really be part of them so that you can help them through. That's what it takes to build the trust. For us at the district, we are going a step further to incentivize that, especially for the in-town travels, that you're able to claim mileage as long as we have about 50 kilometers or more to cover, and you're able to demonstrate that. So let's take advantage of these incentives to be sure that we are visiting our clubs more often, because that's the way we as a district can actually help these clubs to enhance their club quality. My question then is, how early should you schedule your first visit? Like yesterday, it needs to happen almost immediately. The first visit in this case, I actually mean initial contact. Don't wait till August before you do that if you wish to set the tone and earn the credibility, so that the clubs do not see you as one of that administrative overhead that they have to deal with. If you are waiting for you to just show up sometime in August or September, you actually feel it in the way they interact with you, that it's like at arm's length. They will not reply to your emails. It will just be like that. But you don't want that for yourself, which is why you need to be getting in front of your clubs like yesterday. Division directors help your area directors in this regard. Introduce them to the clubs, either through email or getting on their next club meeting, if they are meeting over the summer. If they are not meeting, area directors get the list for your clubs, know the contact number or the email of the club president, pick up the phone, call them, introduce yourself, and get the relationship going. How can you, as area directors, gather some information about your clubs even before establishing that initial contact? There are 3 sources of information that are useful in this regard. The list, as I've mentioned, the spreadsheet list. If you don't have access to District Central yet, reach out to your division directors because they have a copy of the list that we've been able to compile so far at the district. Within that list, you will have information for your clubs. The Mike Graffiti reports is also another useful source of information that I'll be showing you what that looks like shortly. When and how do you build this trust? It has to be early on, as we've said. Don't wait till August. Get in front of them immediately. One thing I did when I was visiting my clubs for that first time as an area director is to have a presentation, short presentation ready that outlines to them how I'm hoping to work with them during my time as area director, announcing what my area vision is and what the areas of focus are, and I've included that as a template for you to look at, see if it's helpful, and if you can borrow some ideas to do something like that for yourself. I was able to share my vision statement, the things I'm looking to help them do to refresh, to reconnect, and to refire, helping them connect their story with the bigger story, which was well received, and it was a way of just creating that excitement and setting the tone that things are going to be different in the area during that program year. Call for an area meeting with the club presidents in August. So in the initial contact thing that you'll be arranging with your clubs, use it to announce to them that it will be good for the club leaders to come together in August. Use Zoom to your advantage and meet with your club presidents online. At that first area or leaders meeting, set an agenda for the future meetings that you'll be having. Establish the team principles. Here's a template that you can use in getting the club leaders on the same page with you, how you as a group will be interacting. So that's that sample there for you to use as reference in coming up with a team operating principles. Have a draft ready for that first meeting, that I'll send it out ahead of the meeting so that they can review and provide input. It's a way of getting them involved early. Establish frequency and key dates for the area meetings. Do you want your area meetings to be happening monthly, or the monthly check-in, or quarterly? Get the club presidents and the other members of the area council to provide input. Also use that first meeting to review the draft of their club success plans and provide them with some feedback, and help them to come to the table with some of the challenges that they are having in their clubs that can make their way into the area success plan. Here's a sample of the area success plan in Word document. This has been revised to be used as a starting point for your area success plan for the 2020-2021 program year. So it's there for you to take advantage of instead of starting from scratch. It starts off with an additional information here, which is the executive summary. It's just a way of laying things out, helping them know what the district mission, vision, and purpose is, and then you drill that down into the area mission, which was part of what I was showing to you earlier on in that short presentation, linking those two together and then helping them to see what the targets should be as an area, with them contributing to that in the performance. And then this timetable of key dates, standard area activities, you see there the area all leaders call, the purpose, what the purpose is, and then the dates. So this table is there for you to use and tweak and just leverage that instead of starting from scratch. Some things may no longer be applicable. For example, when this was done, we were still having contests in the fall and in the spring. So anything relating to fall contests you can just remove. But it's there for you to use rather than starting from scratch. Examples of team principles, values, and all those statements that you can tweak and make your own rather than starting from scratch. So before you go for your club visits, it's good to prepare. Familiarize yourself with the club visit manual and report. Schedule official visits early. Use that first meeting to get the dates from the club presidents on when the official first round visit can hold in September. As we said, gather some information about your clubs, about the incoming club officers, the club's progress in DCP, and the history of the club's performance. How do you gather this information? District Central is where you would download a copy of the list, but I know some of you do not yet have the full access, which is still being worked out by World Headquarters. And this is the transition period for them, so they have a lot to do globally, but eventually you have full access to the District Central. I'll just show you what that looks like, and then go to Leadership Central, click on District Central, and you log in. When you log on, this tab that says Reports, you click on that, click on the drop down menu, and then you select the list type. This is at the district level, that's why I am having 3 list types. You may not have, for you, if you are an area director, you may, or division director, you may just have 2 report types. One will be a club officer, specific to either your division or your area, and the other will be membership report. So if you click on club officer report, you click on export, it downloads a spreadsheet for you with the list. That's how you can get the list of your incoming officers. As I've said, we have compiled the list to a fair extent for the incoming officers. The division directors have a copy of that list. Area directors should reach out to them so that you can get the information of the club officers for your area. The dashboard is also another useful source of information. Familiarize yourself with the dashboard, and that's it. Well, that's what the dashboard was as of June 30. For you to know more about your division and area, you click on the division and area performance tab, and that will list all the clubs for renewals, which is what division directors' responsibility is tied to. Those are the renewals tab there. Club visits is for area directors, it shows that. And then the membership to date, which is what both the area director and division director should be helping enable to ensure that our clubs are charter strength. Then the club goals as well, which is what forms the DCP. If you want to know more about your clubs in itself, you click on the club performance tab, and it lays it out in a different view. The membership, at base. At base means that what they started the program year with. So for example, this club in July 1, 2019 started with 19. In June 30, 2020, it ended up with 16. So that's the dashboard. The Macrafiti report provides historical club performance. If you put in the club number there, my home club is 1437. I click submit. That gives you the historical report. You could see far back as 2004 program year. It has all that data. And with that, you can see the trend in each of your clubs. Clubs that have a history of not completing the educational goals, or that has a history of their officers not going for training. You'll be able to see all that data and understand your clubs better even before you contact them. Let's move on from there. Previous reports of area visits also contain useful data. As area directors, you'll only be able to get that from your predecessors. You can reach out to them to have them forward a copy of the first and second round reports for each of the clubs. It's good to email a copy of the area visit report, as we said, to the club presidents before you visit. Ask them to be on the agenda. Also ask them for a copy of their club success plan, and that immediately after the visits, that you'll be having a brief discussion with the officers. Make sure you dress professionally, arrive early. During the meeting, observe how things go. When you arrive, ask yourself the question, was it easy to locate the meeting venue? What was the first impression? Ask yourself if you would join the club as a guest. What's the atmosphere like? How are the meetings organized? Was it fun? Their learning taking place? Review their club success plan and provide them with feedback. Also ask about the club goals, challenges and successes, and discuss the DCP progress. Before you submit your report to the World Headquarters, it's good practice for you to share some of that observations with the club president. It's all part of building trust. Congratulate the club on successes. In the report itself, one thing you will have to learn is the art of delicate balance on what you put in the report, so that the club remains open to hear from you afterwards. Let's complete our report early. We are saying for the first round at the district, let's target for November 14 as our deadline, even though the official deadline is November 30. But we need to be able to get those reports early. That's how we can review the reports and be able to know how the clubs are doing. Submitting last minute does not offer any value for us to be able to review what those reports look like at the district level. So let's work together, making November 14 as our deadline for the first round. This table, I've highlighted those cells because they are critical success factors for you as division and area directors. Critical success factors between now and August. August is a very critical month. And if you will focus on these things highlighted in red, you'll be setting yourself up for success for the remaining part of your term. Well-trained officers, the membership renewing campaign, the reminder that goes with it, area directors, your all leaders meeting in August, where you help prepare everything around the area council, the club success plan, the area success plan, the Smedley Awards, inviting them not to miss the last training in August 22, if that pertains to them, and then getting an official date for your visit in September. Everything is important there, but those cells highlighted in pink are critical success factors to help you succeed in your term as division and area director. The 2020 timeline and key milestones are these. Key activities that we should be focusing on. For example, between now and August 31, we've talked about club officer training, making our officers attend that training for them to complete their success plan, the areas to complete your success plan, division to complete your success plan, for the clubs to do an interest survey that they can use in planning their educational program for the first half of this program year, and then helping the club start membership drive in August. When September hits, we want to be sure that our club officers are already properly trained and they start implementing their success plans. Area directors, you are providing support to the clubs so that they can conduct open houses for new membership attraction, and then division directors reaching out to the clubs to ensure that there is a renewal campaign going on for membership renewal. Take time to review this, tie this back into your district leadership handbook, which has more details, and I'll be covering that in the club quality resources now. There are plethora of resources available to you as division and area directors. What I've done is to create these tables with the links and description to each of these resources that you can go through, know what they are for, and why you should be familiarizing yourself with that. We've looked at the district center. That's the portal for downloading club lists and submitting area visit reports. The district leadership handbook is like your Bible. It's a comprehensive guide that describes your role either as division or area directors, but also it documents the roles and responsibility of all district officers. So even as you get to know what your role and responsibility is, use it also to understand the roles and responsibilities of other district officers, because then you can use it, know where to ask for help. So it's there. It's something that you have to refer to every now and then. District level leadership positions, that's the structure. The distinguished club program, review that because it helps you understand the DCP. In the package itself, it contains a template for the club success plan and a list of club resources. Use this to help. Area directors should be using this resource to help our clubs understand the linkage between your area club visits and their club success plan and the club recognition program. So it's a good resource that you should be bringing to the awareness of your clubs, and use the relevant resources that are available to actually deliver a presentation on this. We look briefly at the distinguished area and division program. The manual is there that provides an explanation of the quality performance program requirements at the area, division, and district level. The club visits guide that we've looked at briefly, that's the link. We have a page for area and division directors training at the district website. When we post the materials from this orientation, this is where you get it as well. You can see that's a copy. We'll clean this up. The district leadership handbook is there, vision, mission, values, some other presentations that was previously done in the previous years, they're here. So lots of useful materials for division and area directors checklist, division directors checklist, the division success plan in Microsoft Word format, the training planning checklist for division directors, sample area success plan in MS Word, specialty presentations, growing and supporting healthy clubs, a guide to club visitors, the manual. The videos will also be posted here from today's training. The district website, which you should be familiar with because it has information on key events. That's the district website. Proxy is something that comes up around this time of the year. It's a message we should be carrying. Talking about communications, it's a message we as area directors and division directors should be carrying to our club levels and helping them understand that this is one of the ways in which their voice can be heard at the international business meeting. So let's familiarize ourselves with upcoming events, some webinars like the master classes that we've been having. There are those replays there. This next part of the list of resources are things that we've also compiled, club quality resources compiled for you to share with your club officers. Many of them are new to this. They need to know that there are resources for them at the TI's website, where the TI website is. I would, as an area director, actually use this as one of my presentations, help them know the resources that are available to them for them to be able to be more effective in their roles. The club performance dashboard, what that is and why they should be on top of that. It's a way of augmenting the training that they receive because they cannot remember everything in one sitting. Online meeting resources, a compilation of the materials that the World Headquarters has put together for clubs to be able to conduct effective online meetings. Some are still processing how they can start their online meetings. So these are resources that you can make available to them in your role as trusted advisor. The Moments of Truth materials, club success plan, and the list goes on and on. Take time to go through that. We've also compiled a list of club marketing resources to share. Very useful for around this period, as we talked about membership building drive starting in August. The club marketing master plan, how to conduct open houses, how to use social media, attracting and retaining members from guests to members, membership building kits. Putting all this together, we said our strategic focus for 2020 and 2021 is club quality and membership retention. We've chosen to respond to the things that we can control. We don't have all the answers with the COVID crisis, but when it comes to club quality and membership retention, we can choose on how we want to respond in those areas so as to help our clubs become more resilient during this period of the crisis. Leadership nudges. As I said, it's good to take care of yourself. Use the current assignment that you're stepping into, which we really appreciate that you're stepping up and stepping into this assignment at such a time like this. Leverage the current crisis to expand your leadership capacity. Rather than react to challenges that may still evolve out of all this that is going on in these interesting times, choose to reflect and respond. Ask yourself each day, how will I use this crisis to get better every day? How will I use this crisis to help other people? What actions will I take to improve as a leader? These are gold nuggets that will bring the best out of you as a leader in this time of crisis. To wrap this all up, at the end of your term, how do you want to be remembered? In the words of Mike Murdock, it says you will only be remembered for two things in life: the problems you solve and the ones you create. When your time comes to an end, how do you want to be remembered? What will your legacy be as a division director or as an area director? How do you want to finish strong on June 30, 2021? If some of your clubs are in the red zone, you may want to work on them and at least bringing them to the yellow zone. If they're in the yellow zone, you may want to work on them and bringing some of them to the green zone. You will be remembered for that. I like this video because it communicates certain principles as a leader. There may be times when you feel like throwing in the towel as we step into the challenge that is before us. But as a leader, let this be your commitment that you will finish whatever you start, no matter what. Even if it has to mean rolling over to the finish line, that you would finish whatever you start, because it's all about building resilience. You see, success as a leader is not about achieving targets, even though targets are important, but it's about learning some lessons along the way that you can use to add value to others, and in the process that you can use to build capacity. That's where your success comes in as a leader, and that's why it's always very good that you finish whatever you start, no matter what. Let that be your commitment, even as you've stepped into this assignment, which I wish you the very best. As I bring this to a close, why don't you join me once again in making these power leader declarations. I am an excellent leader. Toastmasters is my safe playground for growing as a leader. I choose to try new things, even as I add value to other Toastmasters. As I do, I have a story to share. I make a difference outside of Toastmasters. I am coming out of this crisis bigger and better. I know I will never be the same again. Never, 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 never. Why don't you give yourself a high five and say, I am awesome. Thank you. Wish you the best. If you have questions, send that my way. I'm available at PQD at D99tm.org. And with that, I'd like to hand over control back to you, Madam District Director.